This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Verdon. The Jays have hit a bit of a bump. The Bats went silent the last few days in Tampa, and the AL East lead has shrunk to just 3 games. Meanwhile, the Yankees took care of business, winning each of their last 2. So with 9 games left, the Jays' magic number to clinch the division remains at 6. The good news, Toronto holds the tiebreaker over New York. So if they finish with the same record, the Jays still take first place. And that matters a ton. Winning the division likely gives Toronto a first-round bye, avoiding the dreaded wildcard series. Where, let's be honest, the Jays haven't had much success lately. Please, I followed them to Minnesota. I watched that whole thing crumble before me. My God, I can't let it go. That brings us to this weekend's series against the Royals. If the Jays sweep KC and Baltimore sweeps the Yankees, Toronto would clinch the division as early as Sunday. But to do that, the pitching would need to be better than the last time they faced the Royals. Despite the tough loss, there was some good news yesterday. Anthony Santander crushed a homer in his rehab game, and is looking like the slugger the Jays added last winter. He could be back with the club next week. And if they get Bo Bichette back too, that lineup could be pretty scary come playoff time. And you know your girl already purchased an alarming amount of postseason tickets. It's my own curse, okay? I realize that. Time now for the CFL Preview, powered by FanDuel. And we get a Friday night doubleheader on deck, with a pair of games that have major playoff implications. The Owls and Argos get things started in Toronto, followed by the Lions and Stamps in Calgary. And if Toronto wants to pull even with Montreal in the East, they'll have to do it without starter Nick Arbuckle. But for all the challenges the Argos might have on offense, their biggest hurdle might be shutting down Tyson Philpott. Last week, Philpott had 238 receiving yards in a win over Saskey, which was the 7th highest single-game total in CFL history. And FanDuel has some seriously enticing odds if you're expecting him to go off again. Out west, Nathan Rourke is on the verge of a record. With 38 passing yards, he'll pass Russ Jackson for the most by a Canadian in a single season. This is not a matter of if, but when. FanDuel's banking on Rourke having a big game, but there's some money to be made if you think he'll go over 400. He's facing his former teammate, Vernon Adams, so you can bet both teams have this one circled. We've got tonight's Friday night doubleheader live on TSN. The Owls and Argos get started at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, followed by that meeting between the Lions and Stamps. The F1 season is heating up with only 8 races remaining on the schedule, and that includes this weekend's Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So let's bring in a guy that can tell us all about it. It's TSN's racing analyst, Tim Harady. Timothy, I missed you. How's it going?
Marissa, hello! Finally, we get to talk about some F1. It feels like it's been forever.
Thank you. I love that we are matching vibes right now. Alright, so this season has been a story of 2 drivers. And on Sunday, McLaren can already wrap up the Constructors' Championship. So what do we need in order for that to happen?
Well, what McLaren needs to do for this weekend is outscore Ferrari by 9 points, seeing as how Ferrari is their closest competitor in the Constructors' standings. Now, when we take a look at what happened to McLaren, though, at the end of free practice 2, it was a bit of a disaster. Lando Norris hit the wall, damaging the rear suspension. He didn't get much running at the end of free practice 2. And same goes for Oscar Piastri. It was a bit of a struggle out there. When you look at what the Ferraris did, I mean, Lewis Hamilton, very positive day for him, leading the way, followed by Charles Leclerc. And last year, Ferrari was actually extremely competitive here at this track, with Charles Leclerc grabbing pole position. But Oscar Piastri did come away with a very close-fought victory against the Ferrari of Leclerc's. Now, when we take a look at this points gap that McLaren has on Ferrari, it is massive. So if McLaren doesn't get this Constructors title wrapped up this weekend in Baku, then I could see them wrapping this thing up in the next race in Singapore or the race after that. So when we take a look at this championship battle, I mean, McLaren doesn't have to do too much, but they can secure this thing quite quickly.
Now, things can get a little complicated between Piastri and Norris before the end of the season. What's the story behind that?
The Constructors' Championship is extremely important to McLaren to win it. There's millions of dollars on the line, and so they have these papaya racing rules that they've put in place between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. They're 2 drivers who are battling for this Formula One Drivers' Championship. The thing is that once McLaren secures this Constructors' Championship, what then happens between their 2 drivers? Do we think they're going to respect the racing rules? Because you have to remember that, as a driver, it can be a very selfish sport. You only get so many chances at winning an F1 title. And when you have 2 drivers who are capable of doing it, how do you keep them away from each other out on the racetrack, especially two drivers like Oscar Piastri, championship leader, and Lando Norris, who's second in the championship, who are so close to each other on track? I'll be curious to see how both handle each other moving forward once McLaren has secured this Constructors' Championship.
All right, Tim, thanks for joining us. You know I always love having you on the show.
All right, thanks so much for having me, Marissa. Really appreciate it. Thanks, producer Jeremy, as well.
You can catch Sunday's race bright and early in the morning on TSN, 6:55 a.m. Eastern, 3:55 a.m. Pacific. It is time now for some people's favorite segment, not mine, FanDuel Fast Facts. You know the deal. We put 40 seconds on the clock. I give you as many facts as I can to help you with your betting this weekend. Do what you will with this. I'm just trying my best. I believe my number to beat is 7, but I'm not sure I'm going to beat that. Someone's got to believe in me. It's not me today. Anyway, 40 seconds on the clock. Saquon Barkley rushed for 205 yards against the Rams in last season's NFC divisional round. FanDuel has his over-under for Sunday set at 89.5. The Colts are 2-0 for the first time since 2009 when they won their first 14 games. Indy lost to the Saints in the Super Bowl that season. With a win against the Broncos, the Chargers will start 3-0 for the first time since 2002. Dak Prescott passed for over 350 yards last week for the 18th time in his career. FanDuel has his over-under for Sunday set at 264.5. Andy Reid has not started a season 0-3 since 1999, which is his first season with the Eagles. The Chiefs have spent less than 3 minutes with the lead thus far this season, which is more than only the Panthers. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we almost got to 7. And I'm going to take this as a positive. You can watch all the NFL action on TSN this Sunday, beginning with the Rams and Eagles at 1, followed by the Broncos and Chargers, and it's the Chiefs and Giants in the Sunday Nighter. That's it for me today. We'll see you back here Monday. Have a great weekend.